Like I look at Zendesk as a solution that would certainly support like a more global workforce where traditionally, might be something that's onshore that is very localized. And as you start to expand that, right, like it becomes, to your point, it becomes very challenging to how do we staff for this? How do we bring people together? How do we understand when we can utilize some other talent?
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have a solution from the CRM portfolio called Zendesk Sell. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. Andy, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure, but you know what? I see a very good-looking young man that needs to be introduced first. Dave, you're first.
Okay, Dave first. Good-looking man first.
Well, thank you, and apologize for being a minute.
Hey,
or so
when you
late.
look like one of the Bee Gees, and I'm old enough to recognize that you look like one of the Bee Gees.
And you guys are competing for looks, and I am actually forgetting my controls here. So whose name?
It's all good. Hey, everybody. My name is Dave Chrysler, and I own an operations consulting business. So we work with
AKA Barry Gibbs.
Barry Gibbs, yes. Thank you so much, Andy. And yeah, we work with.
My wife would love you, let me tell you. Sorry, Dave. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all good, Andy. Yeah. So we work with leaders, helping them to unlock systems in their business, helping them optimize their operations. So great to be here with you guys today.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Dave. Andy, so I don't know where the verdict is overall in terms of the good looking.
Well, okay, I do not look like Barry Gibb. Okay, that's the one thing I know for sure. I'm not sure who I look like. I think I look like Andy, actually. But my name is Andy Pratico, and I've been involved in ERP software for small to mid-sized manufacturers all my life. I've worked all over North America. I've worked with over 1,000 manufacturers. I have a published book on how to select ERP software. I put on webinars and teach people how to evaluate and how to uncover the truth. And I'm always honored about being invited to these presentations and evaluating another system every week. Thank you, Sam.
And we are super honored to have you as well, Andy. So thank you so much for joining. And since we are talking about good looks, Zendesk is probably one of the most good looking. You guys are not. Zendesk
not as good looking as Barry Gibb.
You gotta get that side-by-side comparison.
I think we'll find out during the presentation.
Yeah, I'll work on getting that on my screen for you, Andy.
Yeah, you got to change your name on the logo at the bottom there, Dave Chrysler, Barry Gibb.
All right, guys. So let's get going. So here, with respect to Zendesk, obviously I'm going to start with the briefing, but if you're in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post questions, comments. We generally utilize them during the review. And if you are not able to respond to those questions during the presentation, we'll make sure that you receive your answers. So on that note, I'll start with the briefing. And Dave, Andy, I don't know how many different CRM platforms that we have. You guys have attended, but this is part of the whole CRM series. We did a lot of supply chain. We did, ACM this year. This is part of that whole CRM suite. So Zendesk, if you look at how they came in the market, I mean, obviously it is a very SaaS platform the way it originated, it was more of the customer service ticketing sort of software. That's how they started, but now they are in the CRM place. Well, CRM for the most part is their stepchild. It came through one of the acquisitions that they have done. It was fairly basic software that they have acquired. Even today, I don't believe they have a lot of logos, for CRM. Their primary market is really the whole customer service, the ticketing software, but you'll be amazed how much market share they have, how much valuation they have as a company. It's mind blowing. It's probably bigger than a lot of different ERP vendors. Can you believe this? And we'll talk about how that is happening because it's a very, very, very small app overall from the customer service perspective. But the kind of ecosystem that they have, the integrations that they have, especially with the telephony vendors in the contact center space, that's where the real play is. And I don't think anybody can match their capabilities, and that's why they are super successful. There are only very few vendors that we saw that they had real contact center capabilities, even though most vendors are going to talk about, hey, I've got sales cloud, I've got marketing cloud, I have customer service cloud. Everybody's going to claim that. But when you look at the real contact center capabilities, there are very, very few CRM platforms. Even the enterprise platforms are probably not going to have that as part of their portfolio. One of the vendors, out of our reviews that we have done recently, I would say Microsoft is probably trying to develop a lot of these capabilities, inside their suite. But, if you look at SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, they don't even have this. HubSpot, no. They don't have. And in 90% of the cases, they are probably using, Zendesk for the customer service play for the most part. Okay, so unless you guys have any other comments, I'll keep going here. So overall, from the competition perspective, Salesforce, they are going to claim that they have the customer service, they have the field service. But again, when you look at the overall ecosystem, when it comes to the telephony,
All perspective.
sorry, what's that?
It's all perspective.
It's all perspective, Andy. It's all perspective. Yes, you're right. But here we are also talking about the thickness of the functionality from the customer service and call center operations perspective. That's where these guys are really strong, and that a lot of vendors cannot match the capabilities. You are going to find some vendors in the market, for example, Five9. I mean, Five9, Genesis, Nice, Verint, all of these vendors, they are primarily phone vendors in my mind. And they have developed these capabilities from the workflow automation perspective. The way, if you look at the 90% of the data vendors, they are trying to sort of develop the CRM capabilities inside their platform as well. So now, where do you draw the line between the data vendor, phone vendor, as well as the CRM? So that's where the lines are really blurred. But I mean, for the most part, Zendesk is going to be slightly more open ecosystem. Whichever phone system that you are going to use, whichever any sort of add-ons that you're going to use on top of your telco, etc. That's where your Zendesk is going to be really strong overall from the ecosystem perspective. So these are going to be some of the vendors from the CRM viewpoint. You have Salesforce, Microsoft. Microsoft is the only one which is going to have those call center capabilities. Oracle, we didn't see any. HubSpot, very, very, very minimal. Even their customer service app is fairly basic. For the most part, it's not there yet. Salesforce is going to have slightly stronger capabilities, from the customer service perspective. But a lot of Salesforce customers also use Zendesk, for the call center operations, customer service operations. Zoho is going to have a lot of that. They are going to claim that they have very similar desk software, the way your Zendesk is going to be. The only difference is going to be ecosystem as well as integration. Obviously, Zoho has the tools and technologies for you to be able to integrate with Zoho, but then you are looking at a lot of consulting dollars, to be able to integrate, which is going to be part of the ecosystem with Zendesk. Obviously, you still have to vet those integrations, whether they are going to work with your data and processes or not. But at least you have something there. With phone integration, with these integrations that are going to be slightly more from the upstream marketing perspective, you don't have as many challenges as you are going to have with the financial software integration in general. Because the transactions are not as serious. You don't have to reconcile to a penny. So the problems are not the same. So that's why the integrations are okay that are going to be present in these spaces. If you drop one call, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. So those are some of the differences. Then from the marketing automation perspective, you have players such as your ActiveCampaign, Adobe, but again, this does not overlap with marketing automation. Zendesk is probably going to claim that they have some of the marketing automation execution centric features, but they are really light. I mean, they don't really have the entire suite for the most part. Field service is a very unique space, and that's why you have a lot of best of breed field service players in the market, such as your IFS, ServiceMax, ServiceNow. ServiceNow is getting a lot of market share, and we have a slide where we have analyzed the this one customer service market share, how many different players are present, what is their market share, and then you'll be shocked the kind of players that are present in this particular market. And obviously, ServiceNow is there. ServiceNow is getting all of that market share that belong to these best of breed players. Now ServiceNow can do a lot of that slightly more in the integrated manner.
What do you think of Service Fusion, Sam?
So Service Fusion is, and I don't know whether you had attended this session. We have reviewed Service Fusion. I mean, they are also the field service app. My recollection of Service Fusion, if I remember correctly, I mean, they were more into this whole insurance space. Dave, I don't know if you recall or not, whether you were part of that session. So there was Service Power. There is, what is the Service Titan you have? And then you have Service Fusion as well. I don't know if Service Fusion is part of Salesforce ecosystem. Service Max is part of Salesforce ecosystem that we know. I think Service Fusion is also part of Salesforce ecosystem. But they all are the field service players. Now we have analyzed so many and reviewed so many that now we are not able to keep up with what each of them do, I guess. So yeah, Andy, but I mean, they are definitely in the field service space. Dave, any comment?
And IFS, they're pretty strong at project management too, right?
Well, so IFS is not only just the field service. I mean, they are full-blown ERP.
Right.
Yeah, they are for slightly more project-centric industries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but their field service capabilities are one of the richest.
Really,
in general.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, best of breed field service capabilities. Dave.
Yeah, my only comment, Sam, is, and again, kind of highlighting some of the stuff that we talk about regularly, but, to kind of, I think it's an important point, right? And as these, you always took like Zendesk as kind of a very specific, tailored solution to handle customer ticketing issues, right? Especially in a large organization. And what gets, kind of difficult about doing this with any of these solutions, right? As those capabilities expand, it becomes more and more challenging to kind of put them in a bucket. So it's back to that, all-encompassing integrated versus, best in breed discussion. And, it just makes everybody's job harder, honestly, because you can't really put, as they're adding these features, you can't put them in a bucket. And again, it all gets down to, what are we trying to do, and how does this thing play nice with the rest of our processes and technologies? I've had some experience specifically with Zendesk. It's a cool platform. A lot of really great functionality and feature sets with it. But again, specific to, particular tailored use cases. And where I see it, the strongest is in that, kind of customer retention arena, right? These are kind of elevated situations that need to be documented, need to have a process flow for those, not just documentation, but, ultimate resolutions, and visibility over all of that. And, this is a great fit for something like that.
Yeah. Do you remember any other features that you found compelling with Zendesk?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was the visibility piece and the ability to manage the process of, those elevations. So like one of the companies that had this implemented was a print manufacturing business And so they're obviously fielding a lot of customer
Yeah.
inquiries, in some cases customer complaints, right?
Yeah.
Those types of scenarios.
Yeah.
And so as those processes were being developed to say like, hey, frontline customer service can rectify a situation up to this dollar amount, or for this subset of customers, and as those things escalated,
Yeah.
you were able to build those capabilities right into the process execution. So it wasn't like, oh, I have to really think about this. It's,
Yeah.
here's my pool of things I can take care of. Here's
Yeah.
how I, come down and grab tasks and deal with them.
Yeah.
The other part of this, because what I'll see a lot of companies do, especially in the mid-market space, specific to like this kind of scenario, that customer ticketing
Yeah.
problem, they'll use like a shared inbox or something like
Yeah.
that. And it
Yeah.
becomes very clunky. Who's working on what? And
Yeah.
sure, you could do things with categories and all kinds of stuff, but there's no process
Yeah.
execution around that. It's very manual.
Yeah.
Whereas a solution like this, that's the benefit I see, building that process execution into the solution. So again, planning, people, process, right? Bringing those things together.
Yeah, could not agree more. I think great points, and that's where these guys really shine. And we are going to look at some of these screenshots as well, how easy the process is going to be overall from the customer service perspective. But a lot of other systems are probably going to have that as well. The biggest differentiator that is going to be is with their ecosystem, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, the call center integration, the phone integration, and based on that, you need to do any sort of routing of different tickets, assignment approvals, etc. That's where their real power is.
Yeah.
So if you look at the real contact center, enterprise grade scenarios and the players, that's where your things such as your Pega Center, and Pega Center is used in very enterprise grade use cases. For example, let's say if you need to manage the bank agent workflow, and when I say bank agent workflow, these are going to be loan applications, these are going to be your credit card applications, credit card complaints, claims, insurance claims, that has a lot of traffic overall, if you really think about the kind of use cases that they are able to handle. And that's where not only your processes need to be mapped more from the system interaction perspective, but also you are going to have a lot of different points where your agent need to sort of intervene in the process, where they are going to have approval. Based on that approval, something is going to happen, and then you have coordination happening with multiple different mailboxes, multiple different technologies, and that's exactly what even ServiceNow is trying to do, and that's why they are so successful. But again, doing this would require a lot of consulting budget, inside ServiceNow, because it's a very technical sector.
And the other thing I'll add to that, like the comparison between the ServiceNow and this, like ServiceNow, I feel like has identified their niche and really focused in on that from a, kind of skilled trades, construction, like that back to that field service element, right? Where the Zendesk is a little bit more broad. I wouldn't expect the same companies to be implementing, either one of these solutions, right? It gets back to the kind of discussion of what are we trying to do? What's the best tool, to enact, that outcome. Because, again, these are organizations, to your point, that have, in most cases, thousands, if not tens of thousands of transactions that they're having to aggregate. And transactions being phone calls, emails, forms, agents, leadership, all of these different multiple touch points, entry points, and process touch points throughout the flow. So yeah, it gets complex quick.
Always, right? Great points, Dave. So I'll keep going here. So overall, with the industries that where you are going to see Zendesk a lot more, is probably going to be in tech, enterprise software, telco, media, education, SaaS. These are the industries where you are going to see Zendesk a lot more. In general, tech, enterprise software, SaaS, in general, they are slightly more outlier, I would say, overall from the software maturity, even though they are creating software for themselves as well. But the reason why I am calling them immature from the process standpoint is because number one, they have very high margins. That's given with any technology companies. Either they are getting this money because of investors, or they have very high margins just because they are able to sell at a very, very, very high price in general, the way software market works. And the second factor that you are going to notice with this is that retaining talent is extremely difficult, and sometimes to retain them, you have to give them the systems that they care for, even if the integration, the process consolidation is going to be more expensive. Now things are changing a little bit in the tech market as well, because they don't have, as high margins anymore, and the sales are down. So even they are looking for, simplification of the architecture. But in general, the way the tech as well as the enterprise software SaaS market is slightly different from the process maturity perspective. Now, here are some of the acquisitions that they have done recently, and we are going to analyze whether any of these acquisitions were relevant for their CRM market, because in this particular case, we are really analyzing Zendesk Sell, which is the real CRM component, not necessarily the customer service. So one thing that you are going to notice with these acquisitions is they are trying to fill the gap of their customer service, portfolio. Even the AI capabilities that they are trying to acquire at this point of time, they are more aligned with their customer service capabilities and not necessarily the CRM capabilities. So here, this acquisition is for Cleverly, and this is coming from 2021. So they are saying Cleverly provides AI-powered solutions with insight-driven automation that make support teams more productive. So this is where I guess the real use case of ChatGPT AI technologies is going to be, because back in the days we had the knowledge base, but knowledge base was not autonomous. You could not build the autonomous workflows from the AI perspective, where bots can respond, they can engage, they can interact. Now you have much better capabilities, from that perspective, and that's why these guys are really investing in that area. And I think companies are going to automate a lot more. The size of the call centers is going to be reduced. A lot of that heavy lifting is probably going to be done by AI based agents, and that's why Zendesk is so hot in general, because they are really investing in that. They are saying we will integrate Cleverly, but again, this is not CRM. This is still, I think, Dave, to your point, customer retention, customer service, maybe claims management. It's post sales workflows. We will integrate Cleverly's technology across our platform, enhancing the trusted Zendesk AI solutions, already enabling teams to automate more of their processes, reduce costs, and keep up with customer demand. A lot of boilerplate there. Let me see. Yeah, one of the things that you're going to notice is the WFM, capability. So I think, this is another announcement that we have related to the acquisitions. But the WFM, I think we reviewed a lot of different WFM offering, including Enforce WFM. And WFM was sort of the branch of your ACM portfolio in general, because that's where you are going to manage all of the workers. But now Zendesk is trying to bring this component inside their suite, which is great from the customer service worker management perspective. But then your processes are not going to be integrated, and then all of the worker pool that you have, I mean, you are simply managing this at the department level. For some companies that might be okay, but I don't know if that is going to be the real workforce management. So they are trying to build these capabilities. There's going to be substantial overlap, from the WFM perspective. But maybe if companies are dealing at the department level, then this might be okay. It's just mind blowing how much overlap we have in the enterprise software, and obviously you are paying a lot for all of these capabilities that you don't even use. So here, this announcement is coming from 2023, and they are saying time shift. And time shift, if you look at that, you would guess that they would probably be acquired by one of the SCM platform, because they seem like they belong there. But no, Zendesk acquired them, and they are saying AI-powered modern workforce management solution. And the only reason why they must have acquired is because this must be more tailored towards the call center operations, call center worker productivity, worker management, worker planning. That's why these guys ended up acquiring, because they felt that it sort of belongs here. Built exclusively for Zendesk customers, time shift simplifies the management of complex customer experience workloads. But again, one of the challenges that we have in the market, if you look at Workday as well as ServiceNow. Those two are sort of getting into the CRM workflow, and one of the first market that they are going to penetrate is probably going to be customer service, and that's why these guys are sort of getting into the whole employee experience, agent experience, etc. So it's all over the place. The architecture is going to be all over the place. Everybody's trying to acquire every single capabilities out there, and there is a lot of blurred line between these solutions as well. Here they're saying TimeShift simplifies the management of complex customer experience workloads. Companies of all sizes benefit from WFM tooling, so TimeShift was a natural choice when looking to expand our product portfolio. In our mind, I don't feel so, but sure. Now you are getting into the HCM space in my mind. TimeShift allows customers to optimize staffing based on accurate forecasts and data, accurate time-consuming chores, and collect better insights and make great reports. Again, this is very HCM functionality, and sometimes it could be because they need to do the scheduling. So where should you keep scheduling? Should you keep inside your best of breed solution for your department, or would you keep that into your corporate solution that is going to be your HCM? So there's always a debate which one should have, and that's where this whole fight is. Where the functionality should belong.
I think it's really interesting too, Sam, to that point, right? Like I look at Zendesk as a solution that would certainly support like a more global workforce, where traditionally, might be something that's onshore, that is very localized. And as you start to expand that, right, like it becomes, to your point, it becomes very challenging to how do we staff for this? How do we bring people together? How do we understand, when we can utilize some other talent pool to ultimately satisfy our customer demand. So I think this is really interesting. I hadn't seen this news before, so really interesting. I see it as a really, as a really strategic move on their part. So very cool.
Yeah, and there's a divide in the market in terms of what market thinks in terms of whether processes should be integrated or they should be fragmented. From the finance perspective, integration makes sense, but employee productivity perspective, I'm not too sure about that. And you will see, and Dave, I'm not sure if this is your experience as well, but you are going to see that, okay, I would say 50% of the companies, they use ERP just as the corporate ledger, to be completely honest, okay? And then they leave, all of the acquisitions departments, whatever you want to do. And that's why you have scheduling capped at multiple places, because everybody's trying to manage their own function. If you go to a bank, branches don't talk to other branches. There is no integration whatsoever. Even today in 2024, if you are going to talk to the call center, they have zero connectivity with the branches. And that's how retail works. 90% of the businesses, especially if they are going to be very retail centric, then they are going to be very similar. So I don't know if they will ever integrate, because that's how those businesses are set up. They are very P&L franchise based.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. The thing I could see come to fruition, especially in let's say, acquisition environment and manufacturing sector, is some consolidation of resources. So it's no different than, some of the roll up that ends up happening in a typical acquisition cycle. Yeah. But I could see a tool like this supporting that much easier and carving this out almost, to your point, right? Like leaving, the ERP structure alone. And most of those integrations, that's, part of the challenge, right? Because you've got now a whole nother set of, tools and technologies that you're trying to integrate into the ecosystem. So, again, like there are some really fascinating tools that are coming to market that I think will help on that side. But specific to this, I could see where, carving this out and leveraging that, tool set to be able to tap into a more, whether it's globalized or whether it's, domestic yet, spread out because of acquisition. You need the ability to support that. So, and I haven't seen that, like, you have access for some of these other tools, but not from a process flow perspective. I see that as like a separate issue.
Yeah, in general, you are not going to see Zendesk in manufacturing spaces unless it's a very small manufacturing shop, and they are using this in more of the siloed fashion, because manufacturing is going to require the process integration, especially if you have to integrate your production processes with your service. That's why you have some of the field service solution, customer service solution, that are going to be built as part of your ERP workflows. So manufacturing is going to be slightly different. This is more applicable. Zendesk, if you see, their large majority of their logos are going to be, tech, media, telco, retail, banks, insurance. These are very fragmented operations. The way they work is they are very franchise centric, P&L based. There's no sort of integration with the corporate. Corporate is simply doing the financial reporting function, financial analysis, but they are not necessarily getting into the day-to-day operations management. And that's why these tools are very successful, because 90% of the businesses were very, very, very fragmented overall from the management perspective. Okay, so here we have some more comments. So TimeShift gives leaders real-time insights into agent activity, attendance, and adherence to schedules. This zoomed out view of productivity for executives gives the ability to identify areas of improvement. Again, these are coaching opportunities. These are for maybe agent supervisors, call center executives. But again, that's not the corporate view. That's a very siloed view of the customer service operations. I'll move to the next one. So again, we have one more acquisition. This is for Class. But again, this acquisition was also more for the customer service. We have not seen.
I think it's pronounced Claus, like Santa.
Claus? Santa Claus?
Yes.
Santa Claus. Okay, Santa Claus. Okay,
Santa
thank you so much. Thank you so much for correcting that. Okay, so Claus, and this is also the acquisition aligned with more of the customer service. Since we are reviewing the CRM bucket at this point of time. So again, we have not seen any sort of acquisitions that were aligned with the CRM or sell portfolio. So obviously, it's a kind of a stepchild for them. They are really married to the whole customer service post-sales sort of bucket, and that's why they are investing overall from the R&D dollars. Okay, so here we have AI drives up the speed and frequency of customer engagement, and then can keep up as companies work to identify and fix gaps in their customer service operations. Capabilities will help business, again, a lot of sales pitch, I guess. Then they have a new term called WEM, which is the workforce engagement management. That is something that I personally have not seen anywhere so far. So now they are coining that. In my mind, that would be more of the employee experience piece. So now they are really moving towards that employee experience that Workday is talking about. That is what ServiceNow is talking about as well, right? So here, WEM is a critical capability for today's customer service leaders. The acquisition of Clause will be the latest addition to the company's existing workforce engagement management solution. So again, they have done a lot of acquisition. They are moving towards employee experience, which is just counterintuitive in my mind, because they were into more customer service. Now they are moving more towards employee experience. Then they have one more, Clause was also doing a lot of QA, and QA is very important as well in the call center operations. This is a very specific QA related to your call center operations. So plays a critical role in this, ensuring consistency, assessing both human and digital agent performance. So here, you are doing the QA not only for your physical workers, but you are also doing this for digital workers, and those digital workers are going to be AI focused. They are also going to be RPA focused, because you have a substantial adoption of RPA based agents in these workflows as well. So again, very, very, very interesting space. Providing actionable insights for strategic planning as part of Zendesk. We'll continue to build and deliver these crucial capabilities, but now at even greater scale. Again, they don't have much insights there, but it's a very interesting acquisition. Now, this is one more acquisition. It's the Ultimate, and in this particular case, I think this is slightly misleading as well, because UKG. I think the whole UKG stands for, what is that? Ulti Pro, I believe, Ultimate Software. So they had the Ultimate name as well, but this is different. This is a different company altogether. So here they are talking about leading CX innovator to deliver industry's most advanced AI agents and only complete CX platform for the AI first era. And they are doing a lot of acquisitions related to AI and the customer experience space. So this is the most recent acquisition. They are saying Zendesk announced today it will acquire Ultimate, an industry-leading provider of service automation to deliver the most complete AI offering for customer experience in the market. Ultimate's AI agents automate up to what 80% of the support requests. Can you believe this? They leverage any knowledge source and offer full customization to resolve even the most sophisticated use cases. So they are really investing into AI centric workflows. Now we have some more screenshots here from their pricing perspective. When you look at their pricing, it's very sort of easy to get in. But once you get in, that's when you realize that how much you are paying for SaaS in general. So if you look at this, you are going to see, okay, $19 per agent. But make sure you guys are looking at your annual spend that you are doing with these companies. It's mind blowing, and that's why some of these companies have billions and billions of dollars in valuation. Because the way their pricing tiers are designed, they are going to have the beginner tier. They are going to have substantial limitations overall in terms of the kind of capabilities that they're exposing. And as soon as you are going to need the advanced capabilities, they are going to upgrade you. And then every single person in your organization is going to be upgraded to the next tier. And here, the only thing you are getting is the customer service, but then you are using 50 other SaaS platform to get the same capability that a CRM or a suite is going to provide you. And obviously, you're going to have all of those data silos as well. So here they are saying 2 customizable pipelines. So I'll provide some insights into how to read that. So here you're going to have just 2 pipeline, meaning you can probably have just 1 or 2 customer personas. In general, you are probably going to have multiple personas and multiple pipelines, and that's where they are going to upgrade you. So again, unless you have these implementation details, how these things are going to affect your workflow, it's very hard for you to be able to estimate these things. You will only come to know after you have signed the contract and you have started using that, and then your cost increases substantially in general. They are doing the task and appointment setting, but again, the intent here is not necessarily the project management. The only thing that they are doing is the whole customer experience automation, customer service automation, agent productivity, etc. But the goal here is not necessarily the real. Even the field service workflows are probably going to be trickier to implement using Zendesk. It's not designed for that. Then the second plan they have is the sell growth. So they are saying $55 per agent per month when billed annually, or $69 per agent per month when billed monthly. And they are talking about this plan includes all sell from team features. I mean, that's very standard with any SaaS, price buckets, plus product and price books, and sales reports and forecast and more. But again, this is not where you are going to get any sort of customizability features. If you require the customizability features, then you probably need to go to either professional or enterprise, and that's where those are going to be the ones that are going to be the most expensive in general. And again, if you do the costing, this is going to be hundreds and thousands of dollars that you are going to be paying in licensing. So here they are saying 115 per agent per month when billed annually, and 149 per agent per month when billed monthly. And they are saying you are going to get all that you are going to get with your sell growth plus your lead and deal scoring. So any of those features are probably going to be in your advanced tiers in general. Task automation, any sort of AI automation features are all going to be in your professional, as well as any sort of permission that you are going to be needing. They are going to be in your professional enterprise tiers as well. Here we have some comparison of different software that they compare with. So here you have the Zendesk sell, and again, this pricing is going to be more for the customer service, and this is not necessarily for sell. This is really the comparison of sell. So for sell, you don't really have much there, to be completely honest, as part of the CRM platform. So with Zendesk sell, your reporting analytics, it's going to be fairly limited. They acquired base CRM system. Base CRM always had very limited reporting analytics, etc. But if you go for something like Zoho, which is going to have much more advanced reporting, you are going to get much more as part of the suite. But again, you are probably not going to have as advanced AI features that you're going to get with Zendesk. HubSpot, one thing that you might want to pay attention to is overall their object structure and the customizability. In general, all of these platforms that you have right here, they are not going to be as customizable. So if you have a very prescriptive sales process, if you have very prescriptive customer service process, they are great. Once you start customizing, you will find out how bad it could fire back. So if your processes are going to be far off from any of these platforms, you have 2 choices. Number one, you either streamline all of your processes and make it look like the way these platforms operate. That's number one choice. Number two choice could be that you just don't choose the software, because it's never going to work and you are going to pay a lot with the software, to be completely honest. And that's how 90% of the enterprise software work. Some are going to be slightly more customizable, and that's why they are going to be slightly more complex as well. The reason why ERP systems are so complex is because they provide a lot more customizability in general of the workflows, a lot more integration in general, but you're not going to get with these platforms. I don't have any other comments here. I'll keep going. So here we have some comments, and this is regarding their valuation. Can you believe this? Okay, if you look at the top ERP companies, okay, literally there are like 5 companies that probably have $1 billion revenue. Can you believe this? $1 billion revenue. Okay, maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 at most. Okay, not more than that. And their valuation is probably going to be 4 billion, 5 billion, not more than that. Okay, here Zendesk, just one minor app. Okay, $1 billion valuation. Sorry, $1 billion in revenue. That is the ARR, and then their valuation is roughly $10.2 billion. It's mind blowing.
That's only one digit, though.
Which one? 1 billion? Yeah.
From one to 10 billion. Yeah, it's only one digit.
Yes.
Depends where you put the zero.
It's very easy to get, right? You swipe your credit card. Today you are 1 billion. Tomorrow you are going to be 10 billion. It's going to be that easy, right, Andy? So, I mean, Zendesk is probably as big as Salesforce. Can you believe this?
It's crazy, eh?
It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Salesforce I can believe, because companies are doing crazy things with Salesforce, but seems like they are doing crazy things with Zendesk as well, and that's why you have this crazy valuation. So I don't know what's next for Zendesk, but this is crazy valuation. Crazy valuation.
Well, look at the last paragraph, right?
Yeah. I mean, they have tried to do a lot of things, but nobody was really interested in them. To be completely honest, they tried to go public, they failed. And by the way, I mean, they tried to acquire SurveyMonkey as well, which is a very, very vanilla app. You know, the way QuickBooks acquired your, what is that, MailChimp. But with QuickBooks, it's a different deal because they have a lot more market share in general. So they could capitalize on MailChimp in the consumerized market. They are never going to get those enterprise deals. So they are really hoping for all of those QuickBooks customers to use MailChimp. And that's why they had such high valuation. But here, SurveyMonkey is also $4.1 billion deal, which is just mind blowing, the kind of valuations that they have. You know, I don't know who's going to pay for this. I don't know how they are going to make money. And one thing that you are going to notice is, you know, whoever acquires, they are doing nickel and dime. Okay, they have to do it because there's no way to justify this price point. And if you look at the customer support at this point of time from Zendesk, it's literally zero. Okay, it's that bad. So they started as one of the best customer service customer support, with very sexy platform, obviously. But once somebody pays 10x of where they are not, overall from the offering perspective, somebody has to pay that price. So obviously it has to be the customers. So some very interesting, and by the way, I mean, there is one more point that I want to mention here is SAP acquired Qualtrics, but that was much lower valuation overall, but they ended up spinning off. So right now SAP does not have Qualtrics because they could never make that money. They acquired because it was really hard, very high valuation in general, but they could never make that money. So that was the fortune of Qualtrics. I don't know where that is right now, to be completely honest. So I don't know who's going to pay for Zendesk. It's very interesting. Okay, so this is, and again, the reason why you have such high valuation is because they are very well aligned with telcos. To be completely honest, this whole market is very different compared to your CRM market, and that's their core market. Their core market is not necessarily CRM. Even though they have acquired CRM, they didn't do much. No R&D. They are not competing with Salesforce at this point of time. They are not competing with HubSpot. They don't have complete suite, overall from the CRM perspective. But if you look at the customer service market, and one of the point that you're going to notice in this chart is that Oracle had substantial market share in this as well. Can you believe this? They were far ahead, I would say, in the customer experience market than Microsoft. Microsoft is sort of trying to catch up. This is coming from Gartner. This is from 2023. So it's very recent. Okay. Salesforce obviously has a lead, but sometimes it could be harder to segment the revenue between your customer experience versus the real CRM. This one is the top customer service and support vendors revenue market share. So this is not the overarching CRM market share. This is only the customer service and support vendor. So here, Salesforce is still the leader. Then you have Genesis, which we have not even heard. Yeah, overall, from the CRM perspective, the third is Oracle. Can you believe this? And fourth is Zendesk, and this is the market share that your ServiceNow is acquiring. This is where they are really good at. So they are going after Zendesk, and that's why Zendesk is sort of trying to play their cards, and they are going after the employee experience workflow, because Workday is coming in this market as well. So this is very, very, very interesting movement. Look at SAP. SAP is not even here. Can you believe this? It's mind blowing because it's a very telco play. SAP was never here. Oracle was always here. Microsoft was sort of there. Then you have vendors such as your Five9. Five9 is ahead of SAP. Genesis is ahead of SAP in the customer. It's just mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Okay, so here they are talking about, and that's why Zendesk is not worried about the CRM market as well, because CRM is not a play for them. This is where the money is. This is where they are going. They are, I would say, disrupting players such as your Pegasystems. Pegasystems was very deep into customer service, support market. They are disrupting players such as your Genesis. ServiceNow is sort of competing in that space as well. Microsoft is sort of trying to develop those capabilities. I don't know how deep they are going to be. If you look at the SMB solution, you have just one here, which is Zendesk. Okay, here they are saying with a TAM in the neighborhood of $85 billion. And this is the, I guess, company that acquired expects to reach $2 billion by next year or early 2025. $2 billion in revenue, 2 billion with a B. Can you believe this? It's just mind blowing. I don't know how they are going to do it, but great. And then they have a goal for roughly 5 to 10 billion. It's very similar to Salesforce. Salesforce did very different things, but I don't know if this is going to be the next Salesforce. It could be. But they still have a lot to do in this particular space, especially with AI. And Zoho is coming as well. I'm actually shocked that Zoho is not even listed here. So Zoho does not have as a strong market share in this space, especially in the customer service and support. But Zoho is doing really, really good in this space, I would say. Now they have some more comments on the feature. So here they are talking about marketing suite. You can run multi-channel campaigns, including text, email through Zendesk, although the social media marketing integration on the platform could be improved. We appreciated the power dialer in Zendesk Sell. So one of the things that you're going to notice is, again, they are very well aligned with telco. So you're going to see features such as your power dialer. Okay. From the CRM perspective, they do really well in the B2C space. And some people might feel that, Zendesk may be more of the B2B player, but they do really well in the B2C space. Their CRM is also targeted more towards B2C. And that's why you are going to find them in more commerce-centric spaces as well. And if you look at power dialer, you look at text, you look at WhatsApp integration, they are going to have one of the strongest in general. I don't have anything else here. I'll keep moving. Some more comments here. So obviously the price point is $25 per month, but make sure you do a little analysis in terms of what is included there, because you are going to find a real shock, once you are on the platform. Okay, so here, some more comments, and I think this is the comment coming from a site that tracks the whole CX space. So CX space is very, very, very different in general. So here they are talking about Five9 has tightened its telephony integration with Zendesk Talk Partner Edition. And again, Five9 has their own phone platform, and they are integrating with Zendesk as well, because obviously Zendesk is a very open platform in general. They are playing with pretty much everybody. Then they are saying Zendesk offers over 130 pre-built telephony integration, and call center, the whole workflow gets very deep in terms of what needs to be done in terms of call routing, conferencing. I don't know what all can you do inside that, and they all are built. I mean, that's a subject in itself. That plugs directly into the platform, providing one workspace for every single channel. Five9 provides one of the most popular telephony option, and it has now enhanced its integration to support the latest Zendesk standard call object and voice comment features as well. Yep. So that's that. One more slide, and then we can probably open up for the comments. So this is coming from a case study, and this is CoinJar. And CoinJar is the cryptocurrency exchanges. So in general, this is a tech platform. That's how I would position them. So they are talking about the small sales team needed a more user-friendly and efficient solution to replace its overly complicated tech stack. Okay. Rolling out sequences and bulk email in Zendesk So sequences is going to be prevalent in a lot of different CRM systems. That is more of the sales enablement feature. And bulk email and Zendesk style increased visibility and productivity at scale while saving each sales rep what 1.5 plus hours, something like that. Here they are saying UI was very complex. Well, the complex CRMs designed for scalability does require consulting and change management. So these guys don't want to spend on change management. They simply want to utilize the app, and they are simply going to model the way they have their processes at this point of time. Sometimes that will be easier with these solutions. So here they are saying CoinJar is blazing a trail by using Cell to manage VIP clients in its B2C market. Okay, so that's a very B2C sort of play, and there are not very many CRM solutions out there in the market that are really designed for that B2C segment. Zendesk does really well in that space, and that's why they have this particular case study. In general, for B2B, you are going to require far more complex object structure. B2C is slightly more simplified because the only thing you are going to have is the email. Your customers don't need to be connected. They are not going to have any sort of hierarchy. So implementing that is generally easier. And the CRM might be okay for those use cases. Then they are talking about implementing Zendesk style helped CoinJar reach new levels of success. A lot of things there, but let's keep moving here. We don't have anything else. Before switching to Zendesk, CoinJar had tried using Salesforce, but the user interface was overly complex and too time consuming for its small and mighty sales team to use. And you are probably going to find your Zendesk far easier in general. It's designed for very prescriptive flows, but as long as you have very prescriptive sales process, this is going to be okay. But if you are going to have gaps, implementing those could be a challenge because it's not necessarily designed for those customizability, and that's why they are finding Salesforce to be slightly more complex than Zendesk. And they have explored pretty much everything: Agile CRM, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Zoho CRM, Dynamics before they decided this one. So that's the case study. We can open up for comments. We just have 3 minutes right now.
Well, sure. I'll start. I'm sure Dave will have a lot more recognizable feedback as he's used the product before, but I'm really impressed. I mean, obviously Salesforce has been the force in the industry now for many years and done very, very well, but they are sophisticated. They are at a certain price point, and this looks like a pretty great opportunity for a very large audience.
Yeah, great comment, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andy kind of hit it. It's interesting. I think I say this from time to time, but it's always interesting to see what the acquisition strategy is with these types of solutions, and to see where they're starting to want to position themselves. And the other, again, confusing part with all of this is just as they're acquiring, as they're building out functionality. And then back to your comments, I'm like, somebody's got to pay for this stuff, right? So what ends up happening? You get into these platforms, everybody from a kind of investor standpoint is attracted to big brands, right? So big logos and recurring revenue. It's the best thing since sliced bread, right? Yeah. So that's why I think you see these, large valuations. And, my point really is like, when you get into these platforms, right, be prepared to stick around for the long haul, because to move away from these platforms, especially as you introduce customization, integration, it is not an easy feat, right? And so as you look at that and you say, well, it's $25 per user, it's not going to take a whole lot for that to move to $35, $50 per user, right? Like in pretty short order, because again, somebody has to pay for this stuff. So it gets baked into, additional feature sets, additional functionality, and while all of that could be really good for you, right, it could also be limiting in a lot of cases. So, again, understand your process flows, involve your people, pick the most appropriate tool, and understand there's going to be, kind of give and take with whatever you decide.
Back in the old days, and the old days is not that long ago for me, they used to say no one gets fired by hiring IBM. I don't know if you guys remember that expression.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s or thereabouts. Today, they commonly say no one gets fired by selecting Microsoft. in both cases, it's completely a fallacy because it depends on the details. It depends on the functionality. However, as you said, Dave, the logo says it all.
Yeah, could not agree more, guys. I mean, great comments. And these tools, they are designed for you to start very easily. And that's why they are so successful once you start on them. Then they have the meter running, from the that's why they have $10 million valuation, simple as that.
No, it's only 1 billion with an additional zero. One more
addition of zero, just swipe of credit card.
One digit.
Anybody can do 10 billion. That's not very high. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say to that point, though, Sam, like it's the same way when you look at, what some of those customizations and integrations ultimately are, right? It's kind of that same, we joke about like, hey, can your ERP do this? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we could do that. Right.
Oh, yeah. Do everything.
Once you're in there and you're in the ecosystem, it becomes very easy to kind of trick yourself into saying like, yes, we can do this, but at what cost? Right.
Here's the trick for you. When you're talking to an ERP salesperson, and I don't care what the software is, obviously we're talking about Zendesk today. If you say, does it do X? And if they say, oh yeah, that means, I don't know. If they say yes, it's a completely different
answer. That means they are thinking.
You should, Andy, you should put together like a translation.
ERP salesperson translation.
Yeah, that would be a definition of terms.
That means that.
The definition of terms document.
Maybe we should quote them as part of ERP functionality.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to jump. Have a great
pleasure, everybody.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another topic. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.